Yeah, I've been working really hard on. I'd like to. I accomplished tons of stuff. I made some things way optimized, like 10, 20, 30 times faster, smarter. I have a little glitch that has worked perfectly previously. I really want to look at it, but I know if I do, it won't be good. It's not that I won't solve it, but I'll sort of break my momentum. So I'm going to make a video. Okay. And what I was thinking about was the way that human beings seem to, a lot of us, feel that of all things, emotions are the higher, like, intellect. Like of the humans, like what makes humans special. We feel love and we have anger. The emotions, like animals and creatures wouldn't have those things, right? Poets write poems about it. Must be human only. But it's weird. It doesn't seem to take much thought to me. It's like as soon as you start thinking about it, it's like among humans, for example, the stupider you're feeling, the least forethought, when you're trying to impress a girl, so you rob a bank, for example, that's when all you are having is emotion, right? So it's like, it's not exactly like, in dogs, if you've had a pet, you could see, well, not all dogs, you'll see this because dogs, you gotta love them, but, dogs get in a state of mind, like they'll get excited about something. You could totally see how things went along a certain way. A path, it was just accidental, right? Because of their emotions, because you triggered an emotion, you could see the anger. And then they're in a situation which normally they could react this way, and now they're reacting this other way. And it's because their emotions, and it's not so much about how dogs act. I'm saying because if you've known a lot of dogs, then you can see that emotion, right? You can determine the same way you do with another human. Like humans, they rarely are like, here's the emotion I'm feeling. And even if they did, you couldn't know they were telling the truth. How do you tell their emotion? Through their behavior, through physical reactions, their face, everything. Body language. The same thing with mammals. Let me tell you, for sure, every single mammal has experienced every emotion. I mean, literally, maybe not some nuance, you want to pull some little, gotcha. But basically, jealousy, avarice, contempt, pride, the sacrifice, every emotion that you can think of, that mammals, all the emotions you recognize, you pretty much share with mammals. Now, with birds and, reptiles, obviously a subset. You might not even want to call those emotions, but I think they're similar to emotions. They're just kind of, like in the case of reptiles, I kept reptiles, I had reptile pets rather, for a while, and they have this very zen thing, and they, would you call it an emotion? Just having this attitude of like, that's the emotion they have. I would consider that an emotion. But basically, I think as you reduce down the amount of complexity, what you're left with is an emotion. I mean, when you have a small, tiny creature, an insect, reacting, and it looks like it's fearful, and it looks like it's angry, and it looks like these emotions. Now maybe we're projecting it in there, but if you're imagining how can this work inside, it can't be a little robot going beep beep beep, analyze, bzz, bzz, ding, boop, nah. I will do the logical thing, perfectly situated for my circumstance. That's not how DNA builds brains. You've got one. How it seems to build brains to me of any kind. Nervous systems. How it seems to any reactionary system is with emotion. Because it can turn a complex situation like I'm being attacked, or rather, let's put it this way, it can turn a complex situation like there's this coming from that way, and he has this, and he's coming here, and he looks menacing on his face. You can turn that into, oh, I'm scared. Oh, and I'm angry. You can turn a complex situation, gestalt it, into one thing. Right? So, like, we know, like, a bug doesn't have probably we think, a large capacity to remember a lot of the subtle details of the situation. But it knows when to get agitated. It knows when to calm down. It knows, hey, this is a nice place, I'm feeling romantic. Yeah, it has those feelings because how else are you going to have... There's nothing simpler than a feeling. You feel romantic, you look for a mate. You feel angry, you try to kill. You feel hungry, eat. It's focus. It's one thing. It's simple-mindedness. It's not subtlety. It's not like, ooh, you need billions of cells to do this. No, it's simple-mindedness. Hunger, food, you know? Now, is hunger an emotion? Yeah, I think feelings, emotions, we have a lot of distinctions that are valuable poetically, but really the domain is that we have these perceptions, and all of the perceptions are feelings. You see red, even that is a feeling, but most things it is, it's like, huh, what's that? Oh, I feel kind of like, yeah, like maybe, oh, I should go make dinner. You know, it's like, it always is a feeling, you process it and you realize, oh, the feeling means I'm hungry. Oh, the feeling means I should spend more time calling my mother. You know, whatever it is going to be. So, yeah, and I have another video that I'll make. Should I just make it now? Okay, fuck it. Everybody wants to be a guru. I think I made a video. I know I made the video. I'm not sure if I uploaded it, but whatever. Everybody wants to be a guru, and often it's young people. And I remember when I was young and my whole philosophical thing, and, you know, boom, I want to figure out the system. But in my case, every time I did that, because of my cynicism about that sort of thing, I was like, wait a second, I'm supposed to that's bullshit. It's going to be bullshit if I have that attitude just as much as anybody else. So I worked on it, and it's a very interesting area. In my case, my attitude that I adopted is that, look, knowledge is power. You know, if you have to convince somebody else of what you think is true, then it's not real power. Yeah, I understand the whole thing that if 100 people believe you should build a tower of cheese, you know, then you'll get a tower of cheese, woo. But, you know, other than that, really, if you have actual information, then it's of primary value, so you don't have to convince other people. Okay, but sometimes I feel like as I've been thinking, you know, it's like, here's a bone saw and a skull drill and, you know, and a MRI, go for it, you know, and it's like you give the tools to do brain surgery and you don't mention how they're used, you know, maybe that's not. But anyway, so the guru thing. But see, I'm 44. What if I decide, because I eschewed all that kind of thing? Because I think we should all embrace it, you know, because that's the other weird thing. Okay, so I said, no, I'm not going to be any kind of a guru. And certain people that have thought, was this what you think? And let me copy. I'm always like, no, challenge, boom, forget it. Are you sure you can't have my idea? What are you talking about? And so, you know, actively backed off from that. But I could see that giving advice like that, it's an interesting thing, and that also that I never gave up in a way that I'm not going to do this hobby where I sit around going like, here's what I thought of, and it's sort of candidates for wise thoughts. But, I try to do everything I can to remove any pretense of wiseness. And you could hopefully see that proven in my channel, And yet that's sort of the hobby, and it's like just, in wisdom is the word for truth that comes along. It's like, wow, I'm really smarter now that I realize I'm a better person. Even I realize that, wow. But then later it's always just like, well, everybody knows that. And the new wisdom is, so I don't think it has to be like too overly egotistical to think of this, acquiring knowledge. But what about when you want to parcel it out to other people? And so many people want to be, and it's funny, okay, it's like this. Psychologists, you ever noticed how lots of psychologists and people in psychology are fucking crazy? And it's obvious. It's because if you're fucking crazy, then if you're also smart, then you're going to want to find out about psychology to deal with yourself. And then guess what? You have a skill, about psychology. There's a very dangerous potential bias in your own psychological problems influencing what really goes on in, say, a practice. On the other hand, there's thousands and millions and tons of examples of that really is who knows. That they might even have been through exactly what one of their patients is going through. All right? So, the wise are the fools, right? The people that have taken the time to figure out some wisdom of subtleness. It's like everybody got 90% of that. And you needed that last 10%, didn't you? You're so deep. Last 10% for you, because 90% of the truth isn't good enough to keep you on the path, because you're especially crazy and stupid, and you need that last 10% to cover for your nuttiness. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's an irony in the universe, and if you dig deep into certain kinds of truths, ultimately it's because you needed them. And then you want to share them with other people as though the other people need them. And I'm a guru. I'm the one that knows this. I know this because I really needed it. And, there's so much potential for bias. People really should be careful. I would advise what you do is what I have done. And be your own guru only. Be your own spiritual advisor. And this whole magical thinking thing, I've been realizing, I live on a spiritual life. That's what I've long always thought. Ultimately, I believe in facts and measuring sticks and telescopes, and I love all these devices that expand our senses, tangibility, touch, okay? But I guide my use and interaction with this material world that I believe is everything with my magical thinking, which is my brain's way of abstracting the more gestalt, the kind of facts that come where, like, how did that come? There's a billion facts and I got an impression. Impressions are akin to the magical thinking, and you can have magical thinking that's accurate, like F equals ma. Hey, you think that's the Allah, that's God said, we've got it, F equals ma. And you think, hey, that's the way it is. Well, that's magical thinking too, but it doesn't go too far wrong just because F equals ma doesn't take relativity into account. I mean, it's pretty good. The only magical part is God said it, but other than that, it's like it's pretty damn accurate to pretty damn as much as anybody needs for most any normal and even a lot of not so normal things. But it's magical thinking. So, if you are a guru to yourself, then you can share your path. So I really think people should be like, here's my problem, here's my solution, here's my path. when they're talking about any guru thing, if you're telling other people, hey, you need to attune and dissolve in and be on higher, lower, and dig and climb and metaphor, then, if you're going to do that stuff, you should instead you should be like, here's what I'm going through. Here's how I solved it. Here's how it didn't really get solved. Here's how I worked on it more. Here's how I feel better about it. Here's how that all happened in the past and I am past it. Here's where I am. Here's what I needed for my spiritual path. Here's how my magical thinking interacted with my real experiences. And that is what we need. That's the kind of spiritual co-moving, co-guiding that we need. There is no way to lead. You can't lead if it's like, let's explore California. There's nobody here but hundreds of thousands of Native Americans. Let's go see what there is. And you all follow one guy. That's the best path. It's like, spread out, Mokawari. Spread the fuck out. That's a spiritual imperative. Spread out. And everybody, all the gurus that want to be gurus are like, here's what you need to do. The atheists, they all seem to be former Christians, a lot of them. And it's like, here's what you need to do to overcome your Christian. I don't have that. I'm not coming from there. I don't know. I had two Christian parents that, it was the 70s. They didn't teach me any of it, thank God. I went to Bible study on my own. So how to be everybody, it's like, and there's a lot of subtle, like if somebody tells you something that sounds spiritual, like there's not another category, then you go, oh, then that's, that's trying to be guru, you're trying to be so deep. But then you have atheists and stuff that say, this and that, and facts and epistemology, which they may or may not understand exactly, just like all of us may not. And there's a magical thinking to their certainty about it. And they are trying to be the gurus. They're telling other people, shape your life thusly. And it's like, all anybody can do is shape their own life. And you can shape your own life. And even then, you can't be a lesson because people are not in your position. If they shape their life like you shaped yours and become a copy shape of you, that's not necessarily going to work with where they're coming from. It's all so much more complex than that. The only way you can spiritually help somebody, you cannot show somebody a path. You cannot say, come here, look on my path. Somebody might show up on your path and you're like, oh my God, you're on my path. I thought I was the only one. And you could co-move for a while and it will drift apart as well, probably by the laws of nature. But if you're going to spend time being a guru, you can't bring people onto your path. If you do that, if you successfully bring them onto your path, then you have violated their spirituality. They're supposed to be on their path. So all you can do is when people come close enough to you, in other words, they're already close to you. They're already close. You can't pull them from anywhere. They're already on paths that just happen to come through. You're on this ledge and they're down here in this valley going, hey, and there's one guy up there going, oh, hey, look, we all came in paths nearby. And you can call out to each other. I saw a bear. I saw a coyote. There's water back there if you're willing to go back there. I know there's springs up here because, I just met somebody that came from there. You can share. And the wisdom is to share with humility and selflessly like that. That's the wisdom you can offer. The wisdom you can offer is listening. Right, you ask anybody that really is wise, and they will say that listening is wisdom. And you see, my new thing is everything has to be ironic. Alright, Danny Noye. Old Hawaiian dude. No, I just feel silly. I have had a drink, but no. Oh my god, stop calling me an alcoholic. You're gonna make me cry. That is so rude of you to end this video on that note when it was such a fucking good video too. You guys are so whatever. Your face is